reservations in the Philadelphia area. Go ahead, Tom.
All right, thank you. The Native Americans that were in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Delaware, that they were the so-called Delaware, the Lenni Lenape, and the first Indian reservation in the whole nation was established in New Jersey. Now, Pennsylvania, historians have claimed it never had a reservation. That's not true. But let me begin at the beginning with William Penn, and we're actually the English before William Penn, and then talk about William Penn, and then work into the theme of reservation. It was English policy that not recognize Native American peoples as sovereign peoples, and to treat them like so many savages, and to tolerate them, and just enough, and keep pushing them westward. In 1763, in order to better control the colonists, the Appalachians was drawn, and you weren't supposed to settle beyond. You understand, the French were beyond that, and the more the settlers pressed forward into what would be French territory, it taxed England, needing to send more soldiers over. So they just said, you can't settle beyond the Appalachians. Well, the Pennsylvania did, William Penn, when he arrived, he did something completely odd to the English. He had received a charter and proprietorship from Pennsylvania, yet when he came over here, he started to deal with the Indians as sovereign peoples, and he made treaties with actual purchase, trinkets and different things that purchased marginal lands so that the settlers could gradually advance. And there was wording in it, if you really read it closely, saying that as more settlers would come in, the treaties would be extended, that the Indians would, amicably, move on. Well, this was one of a variety of reasons that the king in 1692 took the power of control over Pennsylvania. He still owned the land, but took the power away. And in 1694, William Penn was able to regain the power. He never actually lost formally the proprietorship. Well, William Penn had three sons, and the three sons, decided to live out in England as absentee landlords and receive monies from the sales of lands here in Pennsylvania. And the last thing they wanted to do was upset the apple cart, which is to say that they get the crown to dissolve the Penn family proprietorship from which they made money. Well, one of the first things they did to become good Englishmen is they didn't become Quakers. They rather became Anglicans, all the better to ingratiate themselves. And they did things that were and dealing with the Indians that dealt with them as non-entities, as sovereign peoples. William Penn, the father, that even in his time, there was problems with the settlers and the Indians. I have to interject by saying, backing up just a little bit, he had a secretary, James Logan, pick out various places throughout Pennsylvania, and he called these manor lands. People do not really understand. They hear about the charter for Pennsylvania, but they don't really understand that it was a feudal hold itself in a different form. And, well, Manor Lands gives an indication just how, feudal the control of Pennsylvania was. Well, and these lands that were spread across Pennsylvania were choice lands, and they were supposed to be passed on to William Penn's family. Well, at an early date, particularly the Conestoga, Manor Land, and one in Chester County, as the Indians got pushed, he did something rather generous. These choice lands were for himself and for his children. Well, he allowed the Indians to settle on the manor lands, but the settlers around didn't like Indians, and William Penn always had problem with squatters, so that they did two things. They attacked the Indians, and by degrees they took over the manor lands, which were supposed to be William Penn's land. What I'm saying is that historians that write that there's never been a reservation in Pennsylvania didn't have it quite right, because William Penn was generous with his manor lands and allowed